What if I told you Mega Man once skipped the levels, skipped the platforming, and went straight to boss fights? Is a fighting game? And no, this isn't a fan project or some weird ROM hack. This was an official Capcom arcade release from the 1990s. And it's kinda awesome. This is Mega Man: The Power Battle, a strange, stylish, and surprisingly fun entry in the Blue Bomber's legacy that most people totally missed. Well, let's dive in. Mega Man was always a home console hero. He never really hung out with the arcade icons like Mario, Donkey Kong, or Pac-Man, characters who started in the arcades and made the jump to home consoles. Mega Man started on consoles and pretty well stayed there. So when Capcom threw him into the arcade scene in 1995 with the Power Battle, it was kind of a surprise. The game hit Japanese arcades right in the middle of Capcom's golden age. It's short, it's sweet, and honestly, it's kind of fun. I know, Mega Man in a fighting game, who would have guessed? But this was 1990s Capcom we're talking about. These guys were the kings of the genre. They had Street Fighter II, Darkstalkers, X-Men Children of the Atom. They practically owned arcades. If anyone was going to make this work for Mega Man, it was going to be them. So what exactly is Mega Man: The Power Battle? Well, at its core, this is a boss rush style fighting game. No traditional levels, no platforming, just you, a robot hero, and a series of robot masters pulled straight from the mainline games. Think of it as Mega Man's greatest hits collection, except instead of playing full stages, you go straight to the boss battles. At the beginning of the game, you can pick 3 campaigns. One based on Mega Man 1 and 2, one based on Mega Man 3 through 6, and one loosely based on Mega Man 7. Each path features a different set of robot masters, giving you a nice mix of the NES and SNES era villains. It's a great fan service move, and Capcom clearly knew it. Once you pick your path and your campaign, you can choose between Mega Man, Proto Man, or Bass. They all control similarly. They run, they jump, they shoot, have charge shots, but each has a slight difference in speed and projectile behavior. It's not the kind of depth you'd see in Street Fighter II, but there's enough there to make replaying with each one feel a little different. The controls are tight and snappy, you move like you'd expect from a Mega Man game. There's quick dashes, aerial charge shots, and the ability to react to boss patterns if your reflexes are sharp enough. And true to the Mega Man tradition, defeating a robot master earns you their weapon, which is strong against another boss. If you know your old school boss weaknesses, you're already ahead of the curve. This mechanic not only rewards longtime fans of the series, but adds strategy and replay value. It's like Capcom said, let's make a Mega Man fighting game that still feels like Mega Man. And somehow, they nailed it. Let's talk about what this game gets right. Visually, the game looks great. The sprites are colorful and expressive, bosses have full-size detailed animations. The interface feels flashy and arcade appropriate. The music? Absolute bangers. You get high-energy arcade remixes of the classic themes, all from Cutman, Shadow Man, Heat Man, and more, each one detailed with crunchy synths and driving beats, something to expect from the arcade scene at the time. And best of all, it's super accessible. You can finish a full run in this game in about 10 to 15 minutes. It's pick up and play perfection, great for fans who want the Mega Man flavor without the long time commitment. Now for the nitpicks. Okay, it's fun, but it's not perfect. The biggest issue? Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's short. Even by arcade standards, it's short. With 3 paths and 3 characters, there's some replay value there, but once you've gone through each route, you've pretty much seen all there is to offer. And then the difficulty balance is also hit or miss. Some bosses go down in seconds, others can obliterate your health bar if you don't have the right weapon. It doesn't feel super well tuned or balanced around whatever character you're playing. As for the character differences themselves, Proto Man and Bass are cool to play as, but their movesets aren't distinct enough to make each playthrough feel truly unique. A few custom weapons or unique mechanics to each character would have added a lot and kind of gone a long way. And finally, no versus mode. You can play co-op, which is awesome, but a head-to-head mode would have been perfect for the arcade vibe. Mega Man vs. Bass with boss weapons? Come on, Capcom, that's a huge missed opportunity right there. That's money on the table. So what exactly led to the power battle in the first place? Well, by the mid-90s, Capcom was dominating arcades. Street Fighter II had redefined fighting games in 1991, and they followed it up with hits like Darkstalkers and X-Men Children of the Atom. Their arcade team was on fire, and they started branching out, trying to see which franchises they could translate to the arcade-style gameplay. Mega Man: The Power Battle was developed by Capcom's arcade team, not the mainline devs, and they ran on the CPS-1 hardware, the same arcade board as Street Fighter II, which explains the big bold sprites and slick presentation. This wasn't really meant to replace the traditional game, it was designed as a short, replayable experience tailor-made for arcade machines. Fast action, quick sessions, easy to understand, hard to master. And here's a cool bit. Bass had just debuted in Mega Man 7 earlier that same year. Including him as a playable character in the Power Battle was a way to promote him and introduce him to a broader audience. While Capcom wasn't known for crediting the staff individually back in those days, we do know that the game was directed by Koji Okuhara, with music composed by Masato Koda, who later worked on Devil May Cry and Monster Hunter respectively. The game launched in October 1995 in Japanese arcades and had limited international release. It eventually got a second life thanks to the Mega Man Anniversary Collection on GameCube, PS2, and Xbox back in 2004. And more recently, on Steam, Switch, and PlayStation, Capcom has released it as a part of their arcade lineup. I believe on Steam it's only a couple of bucks. Well, back to talking about the game itself. Of course, it wouldn't be a Mega Man game without a Wily Fortress showdown. After beating all the Robot Masters, each campaign ends with a short series of final bosses. These include familiar faces like the Yellow Devil, Wily Machines, and even a tricked-out version of the Wily Capsule. These endgame bosses aren't super complex, but they do bring the spectacle. Each fight feels like a proper climax to your quick arcade run. And as a cherry on top, every route ends with a short victory scene that pays homage to Mega Man's legacy. Mega Man: The Power Battle is one of those games that's easy to overlook, but when you find it, you can't help but smile. It's not deep by any means, it's not groundbreaking, but it's fun, it's fast, and surprisingly faithful to the Mega Man formula, but in a totally different format. Capcom would go on to release a sequel, Mega Man 2: The Power Fighters, in 1996, which refined a lot of what I complained about here, but this first game is charming in its own little experimental way, and I believe it deserves some love. It's been pretty overlooked for a long time. So yeah, Mega Man skipped the platforming and started throwing hands, and honestly, I kinda love that for him. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this look at a forgotten piece of Mega Man history, hit that like button, it really helps the channel grow. And if you're into retro games, arcade oddities, or just love seeing characters step out of their comfort zone, consider subscribing. I appreciate any and all kinds of support, and there's plenty more where this video came from. Until next time, keep blasting those Robot Masters, and thanks for watching.